Today we're going to talk about the ultimate guide and mentor. This is the energy of Yin Wood. This is the 5th video in the Elemental Blueprint series, and I am Jack Maloney, the Energy Alchemist. And yesterday we talked about Yang Wood, which is the masculine expression of wood, which is the springtime energy, the force that pushes plants to grow through the ground, that upward drive. And the Yin Wood, although it has a lot of similarities, it actually presents quite different in the world as a personality. So Yang Wood we can compare to an oak tree. It's this big immovable force, it comes from a tiny acorn and grows into this massive thing. That is very similar to a Yang Wood personality. They can be a little rigid, they can be a little stubborn, they're very intense. And there's a bit of an aggression to their energy. It's how they are. They don't apologize for getting things done the quickest and fastest way possible. But Yin Wood, on the other hand, it has a softness to it. If Yang Wood is the oak tree, Yin Wood is bamboo. Bamboo, it's super flexible and adaptable, and it freely flows in the wind, and it's not, it doesn't have that same rigid quality that the oak tree has. And bamboo also can grow to like 4 feet overnight. So the ability for fast growth and change with a Yin Wood person is really reflected in that bamboo nature. It can also be translated into wind, which is, that whole blowing in the breeze concept, but can also, wind can also be a tornado. So Yin Wood, it's an interesting element to start in. Just like with Yang Wood, it does rule the liver gallbladder in Chinese medicine, but this is the Yin version, so it's actually the gallbladder that is more frequently to have problems in a Yin Wood that's out of balance, and also connective tissue. So if you're like pulling ligaments and things like that, that is very much a Yin Wood imbalance. They do have some of the same features as Yang Wood, not as severe, but the eyebrows, the jawline, and typical woody features. They tend to have more softness in their face, of course, because it is soft and it is Yin Wood, the feminine expression. They do have woody optimism. Wood is very optimistic. It's springtime, it's growth, it's, that go-go drive. They do have the internal jet fuel that Yang Wood does. It presents in a little bit of a different way. So where the Yang Wood people like to be adrenaline junkies and, doing the CrossFit and all of that, Yin Wood is more likely to be like running in a park or doing yoga, something that has to do with movement, but not quite as intense. So it's just a dialed down version, but they do very much still need physical activity in order to feel like themselves. The Yin Wood personality is more prone to indecision. They can get very stuck in their thoughts. Any Yin expression of any element is the internalized behavior. So since this is Yin Wood, they tend to just kind of go inward when they're freaking out. Whereas a Yang Wood person gets frustrated and yells and gets angry, a Yin person turns inward and kind of shuts themselves off, and their brains are going a million miles an hour with all of the potential options that they're weighing. In this way as well, Yin Wood people can get completely paralyzed when they have to make a decision. Too many options are never a good thing for a Yin Wood person, and they completely shut down. It short circuits them in a way. So if there's too much going on, multitasking is a big no-no for a Yin Wood person. They really need to focus on one task at a time in order to keep everything moving and in flow, to keep the energy from getting stuck. In addition, so Yin Wood they're really cool. They're called the guide and the gentle influencer for a reason. Yin Wood people, their superpower is that they can look at a person and see exactly what they need, and they can influence them to make decisions that they may not have made on their own, and make them think it's their idea in the process. There are a couple of people who exemplify this really, really well. Tony Robbins is a Yin Wood person. You know, he's like the ultimate motivational speaker. And although he does have a bit of a domineering personality, that's his mountain showing up. He's not all Yin Wood. He's got quite a bit of mountain energy, which is, it's a mountain, you know. Tony Robbins is a big dude. But he exemplifies that Yin Wood quality quite a bit. And also someone that's relatively newer on the scene that I've been following for a few years is Matthew Hussey. He has he's a triple Yin Wood, so he's all Yin Wood all the time. And he is an incredible mentor of relationships. And he has, because he's a Yin Wood and because this is his superpower, he helps women to better communicate with men so that they can influence the type of behavior that they want. It's all about influence. And he even jokes in some of his videos that he makes you promise not to use your powers for evil, because that's a very Yin Wood thing as well. If they don't have your best interests at heart, they can basically talk you into doing anything and make you think it's a good idea at the same time. Luckily, most of them are really sweet and have really good intentions, so that doesn't happen. But children, in particular, who are Yin Wood, can really get anything they want. They're really, really manipulative. And so that's just, you know, if you have a child that falls in that age category, that's probably why they're so good at wrapping you around their finger. So Yin Wood also can be prone to addiction and procrastination, and it's different because they get stuck in their own thought processes, and you know, what do I do next? Oh my God, I don't know what to do, and it's interesting. Every element has its strength and has its weakness. It's the same exact thing. So as incredible as they are at influencing others, they can also be easily influenced and swayed by others' opinions. So if a Yin Wood person has a big decision to make, they will generally seek out the opinions of other people to their detriment. And, you know, everybody always has opinions. They love giving advice and having opinions. So it's a Yin Wood person's job to find one or two grounded people who always have their best interests at heart, that can give them real advice that's not biased in any way. A Yin Wood person needs that. They make tremendous coaches, but they actually need a coach or a mentor themselves just to stay out of their own way. It's one of the things that keeps them grounded and keeps them from, you know, veering off track or doing something that's really not helpful to them. Another thing about Yin Wood is they are, my teacher calls them lane drifters. They are the type of people that might have 6 or 7 different job paths in their career, and that's totally fine. They have a thing with timing. So they can feel intuitively when it's time to launch something, when it's time to do something, when it's time to shift into something else. Timing is a big theme, and because of that, procrastination can be a problem because they're waiting for the right time, but it's not, they're missing the boat. They're not, you know, it's a 2 sides of a coin. So they're either on point or not at all. And they love to travel. So there's a lot of Yin Wood pilots. There's flight attendants. They're very similar to water in that way. They like to move around. They like to fly. It is wind. So wind likes to fly. And a Yin Wood person, if they're feeling really stressed out, they tend to want to run away from things. If I'm remembering this correctly, the movie, The Runaway Bride, starring Julia Roberts, that was actually based on a true story. And that woman is Yin Wood. And rather than talk to the person that she was going to marry, she just ran away at the altar because that was the solution. And, you know, if you've seen that movie, the woman didn't know what kind of eggs she liked because everything that her partner did, she did. It's that whole easily swayed, easily influenced thing. So that is very much a lesson for Yin Wood, is learning to really dial into what's important for them. So, Yin Wood people, you are currently experiencing a cave year. So, in the cave is it's an internal place. It's a place of hibernation. And it can be one of the most challenging places in the cycle to experience. It's technically it's the 8th year in a 9-year cycle. So this is like the year to Bring everything together that you've learned. And what the 8-year does, or the young earth year, cave year, it gives you lots of opportunities to look at what's not working, because the cycle will shift into a fire year next year. So that's all about like endings and celebration and just, looking back over what you've done and getting rid of what doesn't serve you. So the cave year is meant to be an inward time, a time for you to really look at what works, what doesn't work, what am I getting out of this, what's happy. It's the earth year again. It's that coming back to center. What do I need? What isn't working? How can I support myself through this? And because of that, there needs to be stillness and retreat and a lot of alone time. So don't plan any crazy vacations in a cave year. Or if you do, make sure that you can hold yourself up in a hotel or like get away from everybody else, because you're really going to need that alone time in order to maintain that woody optimism. It's a great time for studying or for teaching or holding a class. Earth has a relationship with knowledge. Earth likes to collect things, and the cave year specifically, they usually like to collect knowledge. So learning new things or teaching people new things will be a great way to harness the cave energy. And also, because it's Earth people need food. So this again is a year to really enjoy comfort food, and stay away from the extremes, but how can you feed yourself that's best going to support you? Do you really just need hot chocolate? Do you need to just sit down and have some cookies and your favorite tea? Like what do you need? And if you find more of a fixation on food, that's totally okay. That's how a cave year is. And this is also an awesome year for writing a book. So if you've ever wanted to write a book, this is the year to do it, because you'll have so much alone time. You'll be going through everything. It's just a fantastic energy supporting that. And any type of group programs or projects or community-oriented things that you want to put together is super, super supported in an earth year. So on the flip side, things to be careful of in a cave year. I do have a motto for the cave year, and it's don't be an asshole. So there is this rebellious tendency. The cave year can bring up a lot of miscommunication, and whether that's people not understanding what you're saying or you're not understanding what other people are saying, it's on both sides, and it can be very, very frustrating. So just keeping mindful that ask for clarity and confirmation, make sure that everybody is on the same page, and before you jump to conclusions, make sure that you're understanding the other person, because there is this what do you mean? This belligerent, rebellious tendency that comes out in a cave year. And if you do get into those arguments, just walk away. It's not worth it. It's the energy of the year is really making things more difficult than it needs to be. So just kind of take a deep breath and walk away. Again, in an earth year, we don't make any big shifts, changes, or major decisions. And this is more, unless it's supporting the original goal of everything that you've been working on. But making changes in an earth year, it really shakes up the foundation. So this is more what's not working, what can I release, how can I make this better, how can I make this work for me better. And an interesting thing about a cave year is if you avoid the opportunities that come up for you to see what's working and what's not working, if you pretend those things aren't happening, you will get tons of opportunity to pay attention, whether that is illness. People can get physically sick. You can lose contracts. Money issues can pop up. Anything that you can think of, you will get an opportunity to really assess what's not working if you avoid it. So be hyper aware of all of your circumstances and try to look at everything that comes up as an opportunity for growth instead of, I'm not paying attention to that right now, because it's just going to bite you in the end, I promise. And you don't want that you don't need that energy in your life. And don't push your way through. You can't push the mountain. The cave is inside the mountain, and it's a losing battle. So don't push, really go inward, and don't try dieting or depriving yourself. It's really going to be important to feed yourself in that way. Earth needs to be fed to be happy. And the main thing, because Earth is so inward and Yin Wood is really inward, making sure to focus on joy, like real joy, whether it's watching cartoons or going to concerts and shows, fun, true fun, will help you to get out of this rut, because Earth can make you feel a little stuck. And, try to focus on play. Play will help offset some of the earth energy and also bring you out of your woodiness. Wood people, fire burns up wood. So if you implement more joy, you'll feel less indecisive, you'll feel more grounded and good. So, my gentle guides and influencers, that is your spiel on who you are and what makes you tick and how you can best harness this energy going forward this year. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, let me know. I am happy to help you if there's any concerns coming up, or if you want specific homework on how to help this. But if you're looking to keep in touch with all these live videos, subscribe to my YouTube channel. You'll get live real-time updates when videos are uploaded, and of course you can find me on Facebook and Instagram. I hope you have an awesome day, and tomorrow we'll be shifting into the element of earth, as in the ground we walk on. So I hope you join us for that one too. Take care.